Hello, everyone. It is time for Power Up Your Productivity with JMD Productivity Training. I am so excited to have you here for this October edition of PUP. Who's here and ready to power up their productivity? I am hoping that we are going to get going here. And if you have questions as we go, please do ask, because Power Up Your Productivity is our monthly live Q&A. And my goal is to serve you and answer questions for you as we go, so that you are getting what you need from me and JMD Productivity Training. And what I have been hearing as of late are quite a few questions around delegation. And so today I wanted our topic to be delegation. And I think that there are a lot of issues and why people don't delegate. And so there's a few things that happen. Number one is that people think they don't have money to delegate, which it doesn't always have to take a lot of money. Number two, people think that it's easier just to do it themselves. Number three, people think that it'll just take a quick sec, so I don't need to delegate it. Or, I've tried delegating and I've hired people and this and that, and it never seems to work out, so I'm just going to keep doing it myself. Well, here are the issues that we run into when we're not delegating, is that there's no room for growth. At some point, you reach maximum capacity, and you are at that point doing most everything, if not everything, and trying to serve your clients and do the things that strategically will help you grow bigger. But the issue is that if you're doing everything and you're not passing stuff along to someone else, then all the space has been taken. There's no more space for you to get new clients, to implement new ideas, programs, products, whatever it is that you are doing. And so I think that it's really first and foremost important that you realize how uh, uh, I can't think of the word. I want to say important, but it's more than important. It is there is no choice except to delegate if you want to grow your business. When I first started my business, I was doing it all myself, and about, I want to say, 7 months in, I started um, farming out my social media. I couldn't afford a lot. I found someone who would just do one post a week, which was consistently more than I was doing on my own. I kept thinking that I would get stuff out to all my platforms and um, get my social media going. But the truth is that um, I did it when I thought about it. It wasn't consistent. It wasn't branded necessarily. I didn't have the tools to make consistent posts at that point. It was back in 2016 that I started that. And so just for like $100 a month, I had somebody doing one post a week on all my platforms. So I figured that some was better than none. Yes? Fast forward a little ways further down the road, my business was a little under a year and a half old, and I hired my first assistant. And I hired her on a kind of as needed basis. So I paid her a few $100s, and it was for however many hours. And it wasn't by month. It was like when I used up those hours, she billed me again. And when I used up those hours, she billed me again until probably 5 months later, I got to the point where, okay, I just need to have you in the budget and pay you this amount of money every month. And then that went up again a little while later because I needed her more. Here's the truth is that once I started delegating, I never missed the money and I never missed the work. And my business grew substantially because I had the bandwidth to implement new programs, to market better, to serve clients at a higher level because I wasn't trying to do everything. And I want you to know, because of what I've just told you, I hope that you heard that it was a step by step by step by step basis. I wasn't putting thousands of dollars each month out the door from the get go. I wasn't. And I would hire somebody for one off things here and there before I started having somebody do things for me consistently. But I you guys, there's only so much you can do, and there's only so much that you know. You are not an expert in all things business. You're not. You're an expert in your business. You're an expert in what you do and what you know. So I am an expert in productivity. I am an expert in, I would say, communication. It's what my master's was in, and what I've worked in and done a lot of research in for a lot of years. And I I love to write, and that's from my past life and my bachelor's and English and all of that. And so I write my newsletters still. That's all coming from me. When you, if any of you get my newsletters that are watching this, that comes from me. But my assistant makes it pretty and sends it out through my email marketing email management system. I don't do any of that. I write it on a Word doc and I highlight places where she needs to put in a link or, whatever. And sometimes I have her even look up things, articles and things to put in there. But generally I'm just putting it all on a Word doc. She takes it, fixes the font, makes it look pretty, puts in the pictures, finds the things, and then sends it out. So I'm doing the things that only I can do. I am then repurposing that newsletter into articles and blogs and different things for magazines and my own blog and other people's blogs that I'm contributing to. And I'm but I'm writing it once and then someone else is making it pretty. So I just want you to know there are those types of options as well where you can start smaller, or you can do the first part and someone does the last part, or someone does the first part and you do the last part. So there's in delegation, let's get down to a few things here. Um, First of all, if someone can do it 80% as well as you can, and that's good enough, then that is a thing that can be delegated. If someone can do the first 80% and you can do the last 20, it's delegatable. If it's not something that only you can do, and I'm serious about this, only you can do, you are the only one on the planet that can do that thing for your business, then it's delegatable. You just got to figure out how to get it out of your head and into someone else's hands, which is the hard part, right? But if you start small and grow into it, um, you'll soon be hiring people who also can help you do that. I help people figure out how to delegate, and the person you're delegating to a lot of times can help you figure out how to delegate things. Because they will be like, well, why aren't you delegating that to me? Or, this is what I'm doing for someone else. Will that work for you? So as you get people hired, then they will start taking more on and you will start trusting them. Now, the hiring question and finding the right fit and all of that is a whole other ball of wax, a whole other training on finding the right person to delegate to. And that comes down to values, work ethic, communication, all of that kind of stuff. I've been very blessed with my team. I think they're on here. One of them, anyway, is on here today. And I've just been very, very blessed in knowing that my team is fabulous at communication. They are great at communicating with each other because I now have a whole team. I have a project manager, I have an assistant, I have a my web and marketing person, I have an accountant slash bookkeeper. That's my team, and I have an event manager who does my live event. And so all these people are working for me in a different capacity, and they all are on board with what JMD productivity stands for and what we're all about. So I've been very blessed, and I've taken the slow road to finding people and getting more and more off my plate as the years have evolved. My business is almost 8 years old. 8 years old. If I weren't delegating, there'd be something wrong. And I wouldn't probably be the business that I am 8 years in. I may not even have a business 8 years in because it would have been impossible to sustain. So let's talk about delegation. The first thing to figure out what to delegate is to go into, many of you have heard me talk about the 3Ds system. When you look at your task list and you're dividing it into a do it, pardon me, a delegate it or a dump it, a do it, a delegate it, or a dump it. It's really looking at um, what are the big three things that need to be done and can only be done by you in a given day or in a given week, and what are some small things that need to be done that could be time chunked or put into later in the day or that someone else can do. Like if you aren't prioritizing and you can't even figure out what you need to do, which I think is a lot of the problem when delegation comes in, is that people aren't figuring out what they need to do. So they're having a really tough time figuring out what they could give someone else to do. So there's no prioritizing going on. So the number one thing you need to do in order to delegate is to actually start with prioritizing. So once you prioritize and figure out what are the most important things that need to be done, what are the things that I am the only one that can do them, and then let's look at the rest of these things and figure out, is there someone else that can do them? Is there some time else they can be done? All these kinds of questions. Then you're in a whole different spot. So once you get your list prioritized, what are the most important things? What are the next important things? Next important things that start to look at what can actually be delegated? What can actually be put off onto someone else's plate? So the first thing I am looking at my notes over here. The first thing to think about is, what are some small things? You got to start small. You can't start big. You need to start with things where the risk is low, because you got to try people on. You got to try things on. You don't want to jump into the deep end and have things go awry, and then you've got a mess on your hands and you're further behind than you would have been in the first place. So thank you for that comment, Susie. Prioritizing comes first. Before we can delegate, we got to prioritize. Because we don't, if we're delegating the stuff at the top of the priorities, we're delegating stuff that is high risk, right? Because that stuff that is most important needs to get done. The more that we prioritize, the less urgent things are. And so the more we can prioritize, the more we can delegate the higher prioritized things. If we are in the 11th hour, back against the wall, got to get this stuff done, and we haven't prioritized in the past, we've got to give ourselves time to get to the place where we've been prioritizing for a while. So now things can be delegated in a more efficient manner and a more calm manner because there isn't a lot at stake in the moment. So we want to prioritize, or we want to start out by delegating little things. What are the small things that we can delegate? Um, and these are the things that kind of take you out of your workflow, that are not urgent, but they're important. They just need to get done. So, what of those things could be delegated that take you out of your workflow? And some of this could be stuff like um, grocery shopping. Either you could get your groceries delivered, or you send someone else that lives in your household, a child or a child that drives, or a husband, spouse, wife, whatever, that could go do that stuff for you. Could go to the bank. Things that take you out of your workflow, but are little things. Those little things add up. And if someone can take some of those little things off your plate and do them, it can be a huge relief. A huge relief. As far as business goes, some small things that can be taken off your plate is um, entry of is bookkeeping, which is a big thing, but a little thing. Like it's 15 minutes a week maybe, but you can get that off your plate, and it will save you so much time and so much money in the end. But other things that could be taken off your plate are, if you are gathering people's information and business cards that need to be put into your CRM or your email management system, somebody can do that. So there are small things like that that could be delegated. Um, Phone calls that need to be made that are reminders or things like that could be delegated. You don't have to be the one doing that. Okay, so that those are some of the little things. The other stuff that you want to try to delegate are the tedious things that are tedious for you. They might not be tedious for someone else. And actually, some of this is even with the little things, it's similar. So it's like manually putting in addresses, addressing envelopes, making travel arrangements, doing deposits, those kinds of things can also be um, they are definitely delegable. Um, Anything that is trainable, anything that you could train someone else to do and is repeatable, you can delegate. So here's what happens is we're like, "Oh my gosh, I have to get this thing done. I don't have time to train someone." And then you end up where it's a thing that's repeatable. So every month you're not delegating it, you're not training someone else to do it, you continue to do it. So it's taking your time month after month after month after month. And you just need someone to systematize it. You need to train someone to do it. They can systematize it. They can write a system of operations for it. Someone else can do all of that for you. You just have to train them once. You train them once and they can do it forever. Instead of you going, I don't have time to train someone, so I'm just going to keep doing this. Well, now you've taken up your own time in perpetuity forever and ever. Like, just train someone. The other thing, stuff that I've talked about, things that are not your strength. We talked about this earlier on the Power Up Your Productivity is things that are not your strength. Maybe putting together a PowerPoint, maybe working in Canva, maybe doing your social media, um, maybe doing Facebook ads, maybe um, doing your standard operating procedures handbook. Maybe none of that is your strength. Maybe tracking certain things is not your strength. Maybe writing a speech is not your strength. Maybe writing your blog is not your strength. There's people out there to do all those things, and they don't have to be hired on a regular basis. Some can be, some will be, some are. Some just need to be hired on as needed. Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? There's also all kinds of services out there. If you're not ready to hire on a regular basis, or you're not ready to invest and you just need a one off thing, there are websites out there like Fiverr.com, like I can't remember the other one, or even going into Canva. If you're wanting to mess around, you don't really want to mess around in there. You want somebody to be able to go in there and do some things in there, because in Canva, it's a genius if you can get someone to set it all up. But you can even get someone to set things up for you one time, and then you can take it back over if you don't have the money to invest. But here's what I will tell you is, once you start paying someone to do some of these things, you will not miss the money and you will not miss those things, those tasks, because you will be so freed up to build business. It's unbelievable. And you always have the option, if money is tight, to let them go. I have never had to do that. Every time that I have taken the leap and felt it in the pit of my stomach, oh my gosh, this is a huge investment. This is a huge whatever, to hire this person, to bring them on, to do this. It's always been super scary, and I've never looked back. Every single time. Because we know we need to make the budget work. The other stuff that you want to delegate is stuff that's time consuming. And come back to that thing where if they can do 80% of it, upfront, the upfront parts of it, and you can do the last 20, wow, that frees up a ton of time. 80%. 80%. If they can just get it started so that you can make it polished, that's huge. That's a huge time saver. Okay? Things that you want to be careful of are things that are time sensitive. If you are on a time clock and you have not been prioritizing, and you have not set someone in motion already, you don't want to start there. You can end up there eventually, where you've trained someone, so now they know there's time sensitive things, there's a plan, there's a process, there's a system around it, and so you have it all as a well-oiled machine. But time sensitive stuff, now if you're delegating for the first time and it's time sensitive, you're under pressure, they're under pressure, and it gets a little crazy. So that's something that I want you to work into. So today's topic of delegation is truly all about, how do you get started when you don't know where to start? So I'm hoping that if you can prioritize your list of things that need to get done for your business, then start looking at what are the small things, repeatable things, trainable things, things not in your strength or that are tedious, that you hate doing, that someone else loves doing. Those are the places to start. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money, and you can step into it, slowly step into it. Okay? I challenge you to find one thing to delegate this week. Let's say next in the next month. Let's find one thing that you can delegate in the next month. And if you wouldn't mind coming in and making a comment or emailing me and saying, "Oh my gosh, I delegated this thing and never thought that I could, had never delegated before." How awesome would that be? I want to hear from you. What are you delegating? What are your thoughts around delegating? How's it going in your delegating journey? So, you've heard a little bit about mine. My delegation journey has been slow and steady, and it's winning the race. So, go for it. You can do it. You can delegate. You just got to start where you feel like it's doable and where the risk is low, so that then you can get into, how do you hire the right people, and how do you really make the big things delegable, so that you feel safe and that your business is ready for it and that you can handle it and get the trainings done. There's so much more to it. You guys, I could talk about it forever, but I won't. So that gives you about 20 minutes worth today. At JMD Productivity Training, we have some really great stuff coming up. Number one, if you want to check out Power Up Your Productivity, other issues of it, other months, you can find it on my website at juliemillerdavis.com. You can find Power Up Your Productivity there and past issues of it. You can also find it on my YouTube channel and some other places. You also have access to all kinds of awesome stuff on my website. If you want to go grab my daily productivity planner, which will help you prioritize, you can go to juliemillerdavis.com, and underneath the top banner, you will be able to find the daily productivity planner and go ahead and grab that download. We send out an email every month, and that has always some rich content in it and articles that I share around different aspects of productivity and focus and that kind of stuff. And we've got a really great event coming up for 3 days. It's virtual on Zoom or live in person in Colorado Springs. If you want to come be with me in person for 3 days, October 26th, 27th, 28th, please check that out at unstuckevent.com. I would love to have you there. We really dig into having this time to work on your business, set some goals, get some clarity, and you leave with an action plan. And it is the place that people come to get really in tune with their business and what's happening with their business and what their wishes and wants are and how do they make that happen. So it's truly about intentional growth and intentional getting in touch with your business and how you want things to look 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months from now, or more, even, you'll find out. And we have all the things with Julie Miller Davis coming up at the, I don't know when. Oh, second. I think second. Susie's on here. First or second Monday of the month. It is in 2 weeks, where I interview someone who is, thank you, 1010, all the things, second Monday of the month, where we are interviewing different people about their productivity habits and their businesses. So please tune in again right here. That is all I have for you today. Julie Miller Davis signing off on Power Up Your Productivity. Get out and delegate. Thanks, everyone.